Hello, everybody. So I've had a couple of vases sitting in my garage for the last few months, and while I like this one, it was really pretty. I tried doing the drip method, the pour over method with the vase, which is why it has those drips on the top. Um, I don't know, it just didn't turn out exactly the way I was hoping, and I just wasn't like in love with it. So I am going to repurpose it. I saw a video on her channel's called JS Creations Art Sanity, and I was inspired. So I'm going to do something similar to what she did, and I am also repurposing some nail dip powders that are glittery. And because I've really gotten into my fluid art on canvases and tumblers and vases and things like that, lately I have let my nails go. So I actually had tested this glitter because it has like a clear acrylic powder in it, to help you with your to help it adhere and harden to your nails. And I had tested this glitter mixture mixed with resin in a coaster, and it worked just fine. The acrylic powder did not cloud the glitter at all. So I hadn't used this Mod Podge in a long time, and I forgot how fast it pours out. So I had way more than I needed. But I'm just going to put the Mod Podge on the vase and then sprinkle the glitter over the Mod Podge. So what I didn't mention yet is that I did sand this vase down because what's on it is colored resin. So I sanded it with a 120 grit sanding block and then cleaned it with alcohol and just a paper towel. So I will do 2 layers of this glitter mixture. And I just know with Mod Podge, you don't want it to clump up too much. You really want a thin layer. And it was starting to get heavy. So I think eventually I put it on my cup turner. The drips at the current bottom of the vase, but really the top of the vase, I actually tried to sand those completely down when I was sanding the rest of the vase, but it was just taking a lot of effort, and I was like, you know what? I don't really mind the drips. So you will see at the end of the video what I do about the existing drips. So I ended up doing 2 total layers of the glitter, letting this dry in between. The bottle of Mod Podge says that each layer needs to dry for about 20 to 30 minutes. I did just about that. So I'm just taking my gloved hand and patting down the glitter because there's some chunky glitter mixed in here, and I just wanted it to lay flat. And it's interesting because you don't really notice it when you're doing this, but when you watch the footage all sped up, you can see how off center my foam is in the middle of the vase, you can see how it is not turning very smoothly at all. But thankfully it doesn't impact really anything. But it really shouldn't be going all over the place like that. And I'll tell you what, this is my first time working with glitter. I'm normally not a huge glitter person. Oh, I'm taking a just a dry paintbrush and just wiping off the extra, or the excess, I should say. And man, that glitter just gets everywhere. Everywhere. I feel like if I'm going to do glitter, I should have a glitter day where I do all things glitter and then clean everything up and then do all things not glitter because it's impossible to keep glitter out of anything else that you're working on. So I was just using my hairdryer to blow all the extra glitter off of my table. All right, so here are the alcohol inks that I'm going to be using. One is a metallic violet, and the other is metallic iris, I think, and then that was a silver. So what I am doing is creating a geode pattern, design, whatever you want to call it. This is my first time doing this. I did not put anything on top of the second layer of glitter. All I did was just brush off the excess like I showed you earlier. I did not spray this with anything. But after this step, after this all dries, I will spray it and I will show you what I do. So I realized that, you know, wherever you put the ink, it's going to stay there. You cannot undo any ink. So I was just really trying to be careful, but it wasn't perfect. But the nice thing is that you can correct pretty much anything. You can just kind of turn it into part of the geode, really. So I'm using the darker purple. This is the metallic violet to make the center of the geode, to kind of make like a stripe through the middle of it. And I wanted it to kind of twist and turn around the whole vase. So you just need to kind of watch out for gravity because the ink will run downward. And my particular cup turner, this switch to turn the direction of the rotation is not exactly predictable. I just have to like turn the switch off and back on and off and back on. And so I can't control the direction easily. I can get it to change direction, but not with like one flip of a switch. Anyway, so now I'm taking the metallic iris and doing sort of the middle area of the geode. So just following the pattern of that middle stripe. I didn't really have this mapped out. I was just kind of going with the flow. All I really knew was that I wanted it to go, you know, start at the top and then kind of diagonal, go around the bottom and then back up the other side. Okay, so then now I'm taking the silver and doing an outline. I am barely squeezing these bottles because the ink just comes out very easily and it runs very easily too. So I just was being really, really careful. There were a few places that I would take like my finger, my gloved finger, and just kind of tap on it and kind of blend it together if it messed up. And so I'm just showing you the outline of the bottom. And quite a few of these like twists and turns were not planned, but I made them work. I contemplated using my silver pen for the outline here, but my inspiration video, she used alcohol ink for the whole design. So I said, if she can do it, I can do it too. Just going in and touching up the center, kind of darkening some of the areas. And then I waited for it to dry, probably an hour or so. And I did spray it with that UV spray. Let that dry. And then now I am coating with resin. There's a lot of air bubbles in it. I like this resin. It's on the thicker side. It's the Promise brand that I've showed you a bunch of times before. So it's kind of a cold day, so I'm just running my heat gun through before I torch. So I feel like if I torch too soon and it's on the colder side outside, the torch just does not get all the air bubbles out. And I just run my torch over this a couple of times. I wait a little while in between. You can see in the background I'm doing a tumbler with a handle. It's my first one. Thank you to whoever designed those handles, because it doesn't touch my table. It like barely touches, or barely gets by without touching. All right, and covering with a food net while that spun for maybe 3 or 4 hours. And then here is kind of I want to keep it a surprise. So I put something down on my table, and I will show you later what that is. So I take a cup, just an old cup, and put the vase. It's still a little bit sticky, but I was still able to move it. Put the vase upside down, and then I am pouring more clear resin over top. And so what I'm doing is recreating the rest of the drips that I filed off earlier in the day. And I thought to myself, you know what? That's okay, because now the drips are going to end up clear on the tips of them, and I think it'll be really pretty. As I'm doing this voiceover, I haven't seen the dried product. It is currently drying in my garage. So I can't wait to see it, but I am very optimistic that it's going to be gorgeous. So I do go through and make sure, there we go, with a popsicle stick, make sure that everything's covered, make sure there's not too much resin pooling at the top of the vase. But I did go through with a popsicle stick and make sure that every part of the vase was covered. And I am fully aware that all of the runoff is on my table. That was very intentional. So just scraping the resin and getting the bubbles out of it. Again, using my heat gun first, then the torch, then probably the torch again and again and again. And then finally I will spritz it with some alcohol. And then it will get covered with a plastic tub. I'll cover the vase still resting on that cup, and this puddle of resin. And I'm going to let it cure at least overnight. It probably won't be ready in the morning, but we'll see what's next. All right, so here it is the next day, and those drips are exactly what I was hoping for on the top. And it turned out beautiful. I just love it. Um, love the glitter, and I especially love the fall foliage. My husband used to say foliage, but it's a beautiful day. So just giving you a quick shot of an area of my yard. So love this geode vase. I'm sure there's more to come. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.